Here I hang out with leaders. I'm talking about people who are badass with what they do and how they choose to live. Because to create a life of purpose, freedom, and passion, it all starts with yourself first. Results do not take time, they take courage. And I will be bringing on the most incredible humans with the most radical stories. Humans with courage, vision, and integrity. These people do not conform, they create change. They possess something that inspires us to do more or be more in life. I hope that they breathe life into you just as much as they have into me. Your girl in limitless possibility. This is Taking to Your Luna.
There we go. Hi everyone, welcome to another segment of Untitled Chapter. This is episode number 3, and here we bring on leaders. So we know that results don't always take time, they also take courage. And my next guest has a boatload of courage, and I'm so excited to have him on today. He was infamously known as the dude you have a Dell guy, and he had this amazing contract, but he lost it, but was still able to rise. He is now a musician with his band, Destiny, and he also has, he's a lead actor in The Other Albums. He is a freedom coach and leader, and that's how I know him. And we have him on today. His name is Ben. So let's bring him on now. Hey, Ben.
Hi, Lena. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Such an honor to have you. I am so stoked to do this.
So am I. The feeling is mutual.
Amazing. Where are you calling from?
I am coming from Beacon, New York. So thanks to the pandemic, the person who swore they would never leave the city, after living there for 21 years, I just had my 21st anniversary in August. I moved to Beacon because I got a taste of the outdoors. My band was on tour when this hit, and we ended up living with our trombone player's family in Maine. And after 3 months of being in nature, we were like, oh, why are we living in the city? And so now I'm like 40 miles north of the city, but like I was surrounded by deer all day yesterday and sit by creeks, and it beats the city life for sure.
Yeah.
And I can drive in and drive out whatever I want.
That's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
How long have you been there?
I've been here for 2 whole weeks.
Oh, super.
Yeah, I've actually moved. We've moved 6 times. Once we were in Maine for 4 months, we just started traveling. So we've been all over the country and safely. And now finally we've landed here. So we've just manifesting it, and it just took a while. You know, the universe has its own time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take time. It takes courage, as you say. So we were tired of waiting for a house to open, and we just packed all our stuff up and said, that's it, we're just going to go. And we just found an Airbnb until our house opened. So it's so great to get to work from anywhere. And that is such a gift of the life that I have today from all the hard work that pays off.
So I am ready to get stuck in.
Yeah.
What was it like with your contract? Tell us a little bit about how you became the Dell guy and what that was like.
So I can barely hear you. But you said what it was like for me from when I became the Dell guy.
Yes. So what was it like when you became the Dell guy, and what was it like? What happened with your contract? Let's have a look.
What happened to my contract? Okay, so what was it like when I became the Dell guy? Well, so I was 19 years old. I moved to New York City from Chattanooga, Tennessee, a small city in the mountains. And then I started auditioning because I was getting nervous. You're not supposed to audition. I got an acting scholarship at New York University into their BFA acting program. So it's one of the most intensive competitive programs in the country. They accept 2% of applicants. And not only did I get in, but this boy from Tennessee got a scholarship for his acting. So that was a great gift because my parents didn't think we could afford it. And I said, well, let's just try. Let's just go to New York. That's where it happens. They would not let me go to LA because that's where my sister was, and we hadn't seen her in a couple of years. So I got in fresh off the boat, fresh to the city, still had my Southern accent, but I've traveled enough and actually lived in England and Surrey for summer. And I came back at 7 years old being able to do the local accent. And then all these other accents. My mom was a French teacher, so acting and accents came naturally. So I could drop it. Started to have the voice and speech training. And one of my friends was going out on auditions, but he was in business school. And I was like, buddy, you're not even trying to be an actor. Like, hook me up. And he introduced me to his manager. I think 2 weeks later, I landed the Dell commercial campaign. And I didn't expect to get it. I was 19. They were kids, 12 to 17-year-olds there. I was the only guy there without his mom. And it just took off. No one knew how big it was going to be. It became an overnight success. So I literally went, it was a Christmas commercial. I went on Christmas vacation. I went home to visit my family. And by the time I came back to New York, 2 weeks later, it was on TV all day long. And people were yelling at me on the street. And I was really confused because I hadn't been watching TV. And then it just exploded. And then I was in school in the most intensive acting program full time, auditioning constantly. My agents are like, well, where are you? And my teachers were like, well, where are you? And it was really pulling between two worlds, but it got so big. And I don't think any of us knew or were prepared for. And you can't really prepare for fame. It's a very bizarre thing. But it was a rocket success. And it changed because in 2001, I'd finally gotten my own apartment. I'd gotten out of the dormitories and I was in the financial district and living the high life with my best friend. And I was like DJing, and suddenly our backyard, AKA the World Trade Center, became the hit of the largest terrorist attack in America. And September 11th, not only did the towers crumble, but so did my whole life. What I didn't know is I was there, I barely survived. It's a pretty horrendous story. And I'll spare you the details, but my roommate and I miraculously both lived. And it was such a wake-up call. Like World War III is in our backyard. Life is so precious. And then I'd go outside and it was like, dude, where's my computer? And I was like, fuck you guys. Like the world is falling apart. Like, come on. But what I didn't know is people needed joy. They needed relief. But I was so sick. I developed extreme post-traumatic stress disorder, undiagnosed. I developed extreme anxiety disorders, depression. I started medicating with drugs and alcohol, which didn't help. You know, cocaine, alcohol, and marijuana do not help anxiety, especially combined. But I was young and making money, and it was terrifying. But my career was still taking off, and I was on all the television shows. I was on the Tonight Show and Good Morning America and Reuters and BBC and Fox News and then after 9/11, like interviewed every day by newspapers. And I had also taken my first personal growth and development program in the World Trade Center. So I was also like getting woke to the possibilities of life. And then it all crumbled again because I got arrested for pot. And there's a funny story there too. I didn't know. Were you asking me a question in there?
I was. So what I was saying is that.
Oh, I can hear you better now.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. So what I want to do is actually play your commercials.
Okay. Before I tell you how they ended, yes.
That's actually amazing because I remember watching you growing up. Like everybody talked about you in high school. You would actually say, "Dude, you go to Dell." We'd be like playing around with that and.
Oh, right on.
The Mad TV skits, right? There was so much. Like you were so famous. So let's bring on the commercial program to see it.
Mom, Dad, hey, it's me, Steve. All I want is a computer. Now hold on, Dad. It's just $849 for all this.
William?
Hello, Stephen.
You're not by any chance computer shopping, are you?
Mm-hmm. If I can get some help.
Well, right now, you can get a complete Dell system with an Intel Pentium 4 processor, which is so nice. Dude, you're getting a Dell.
Easy to buy, easy to own, easy as Dell.
Dude, you're getting a Dell. So you know what you're getting and what you're getting it for.
So none of this?
Nope, just the perfect PC for you at the right price for you.
Oh, I'm feeling better already.
Dude, we're getting another Dell.
Sweet.
I have not seen those in so long. Oh my God.
They took back. So right. Can you hear me better now? Let me just check the commentary again. Can you guys let me know if you can hear me okay? Is that better?
Sure. Not really, but we'll keep going.
Okay, cool.
I could hear you say, "Can you hear me?" So that's good.
Okay, cool. I'll just talk really loud. How about that?
That helps.
Yes. Okay, Lena, check the audio settings in network. It's hard to hear. Okay, I'm gonna get some IT help because it really is shit that you can't hear me right now. So 1 second. Okay, I'm gonna switch my camera off really quickly. Sorry about this, guys. It should just...
Okay, yes, stay tuned. You can continue watching the commercials. I can tell you stories.
There we go. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah. So the girl in the car was actually, I don't know if you saw the convertible, it switched to the girl really quick. So that was Maggie Grace. Maggie Grace is now a famous, very successful actor. She was in Taken 2. That was her big break in the movies. And she was 16 years old in that commercial. So here I am, 21, hanging out with this girl who was 16, who was supposed to be my girlfriend. It was pretty awkward because I definitely, was not trying to hit on this younger woman, and yet had to flirt with her the entire day. So I understand more about what actors go through. And that whole series, that was about 3.5 years of 26 commercials, all edited into those 20 seconds that you just saw. And the first one was directed by Bennett Miller, who is the Oscar award-winning director for Capote. And one really funny thing is, if any of you know Fast Times at Ridgemont High, one of Sean Penn's greatest roles as a stoner surfer dude, he, so I'm doing the commercial, and I'm wearing they give me a hemp necklace and a waffle t-shirt. That's what we called those, like, I don't know, it's like waffle patterns. And he said, we need a little less Spicoli on this one. And I'm thinking, like, you have me dressed like a stoner, acting like quirky and young. And I got it. It was a family thing. But that was really funny because the fourth commercial where I'm in the computer store, you see me going like, dude, you're getting a Dell. The tagline was supposed to be mission accomplished, which I thought was awesome. And then the director comes over and he's like, so the ad agency would like us to try to say something a little different. Could you try, dude, you're getting a Dell? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That's terrible. That's even worse. But I was kind of making fun of it, but I said it. And I was like, dude, you're getting a Dell. And it took off. The rest was history. We had no idea. It turns out it was brilliant, goes to show how much I knew. But I was young. And so that was incredible success. But what people don't know is how it ended. Hi, Lena.
Hi, thank you.
I hear you so much better.
You do? Oh, yes, thank God.
It's
okay.
like a whole nother world. Whatever they did.
I am using, because I have a great mic. I don't know what happened there, but okay, we're good. Right. So, yeah, so let's hear the story then. Ben, tell us, how did it all end?
Yeah, so it all ended. And do you know what a proper Scotsman is? Like if you're wearing a kilt, but proper Scottish style.
Oh, I do. My husband's Scottish, so yeah. No,
so you know all about that. So I was dating a Scottish woman.
Yeah.
She was English. Let's be fair. She was English, but she was living in Scotland. And my best friend took me to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Oh, I love that festival.
It was incredible. And we took this play there called Indian Wants the Bronx by Israel Horowitz. And it's about Israel Horowitz is the father of ad rock from the Beastie Boys. And he's one of the greatest American playwrights, Jewish American playwrights that ever lived. And it was right after 9/11. So I personally produced this play about an Irishman and a Jewish kid from the Bronx that basically take this Indian guy hostage to talk about racism. It was a very violent, disturbing play. We took it to Scotland. We got rave reviews for being very violent, disturbing Americans. So it didn't go over well.
Yeah.
But the last day there was this girl handing out flyers, and my friend was talking to her. Literally, I walked by and I heard angels singing, and I have to go talk to this person.
Right.
She became my girlfriend. I stayed. I canceled my plane ticket. We fell madly in love. I fell so in love with Scotland. And so, of course, I learned about my heritage, found out I actually had some Scottish in there.
Oh, wow.
Found our tartan and the pattern for your family, for those Americans listening.
Yes.
And on my best friend's birthday, he also had dated a true Scots woman person in the past, and he had a kilt. So on his birthday, he was like, I got this great idea. We're gonna go to like the most motorcycle dingy bar in New York City, and we're gonna wear kilts, like dressed to the nines, proper Scottish style.
Yeah.
Which for you Americans is nae knickers, which is no underwear.
Yeah. I was gonna ask,
So
what's the thing that goes on top again of the skirt? Do you remember? Called, do you remember
I'm
the name?
blanking right.
Yeah. But okay, so you had one of those too?
It's really cool. Yeah. I had the pouch.
The whole thing.
We couldn't carry the knife. That's not really kosher in New York City. It's pretty big. But I ordered weed from a delivery service like you do back then, especially in the city. You don't buy it on the street. They just bring it to your door. So the guy comes, but he's on a bicycle and I'm in a kilt, and we get changed. And next thing I know, the cab driver, I'm looking around. I'm smart. I'm not completely stupid. Cab driver gets out, throws me against the wall. They're undercover cops following this guy. And I'm getting arrested in a kilt. And I get thrown into jail. Luckily, my other friend who was there, his father's a criminal defense attorney. And he's like, I know what it's like to be in prison. We have to get Ben pants and underwear pronto. So he brought the big gun. He gives them to the police.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's this for? He's like, well, he's a true Scotsman. They're like, I don't get it. He's like, he's not wearing any underwear. And they're like, oh shit. Yeah, this guy will never last in here. 2 seconds. He won't last. So they bring that to me. And the whole time they're mocking me. They're like, dude, you're getting the cell. Oh shit. Look at it's the Dell dude. Hey, everybody. Yeah. And I'm like, great. I'm just going to be behind bars for the weekend, getting mocked by the NYPD. This is lovely. And then I had a pretty powerful experience with a man. I was always attracted to prisoners. I always lived a wild side. I'm the son of a preacher, so naturally rebellious. Had a lot of dark depression, an artist. And I met this guy in there who was coming off heroin in prison. And we had this really powerful talk because I always was like a deep, sensitive dude. And he was like, I'm going upstate for the 5th time, and I can't do it anymore. And he asked me, he was like, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 21. And he just got like white. And he's like, my son's 21. And it was this wake up call for him that he didn't want to live his life like that anymore. It was crazy. And in that moment, the police come by and they're like, hey, dude, we got some people upstairs. Time to go up. And I'm like, nobody knows, right? He's like, don't worry. It's just us cops that know. Hey, forget about it. And I go up there. They let me go because it's like a quarter, an eighth of weed. It's a very small amount of marijuana. It's like a misdemeanor. Yeah. And I walk outside. The entire press of New York is outside. And I am, turns out, already on CNN headline news. Like, dude, you're getting a cell.
Oh my God.
And so Dell and my agents knew before anyone. It was on national television before I could tell my parents. Wow. Luckily, I have like the coolest dad in the world. And he called me and he's like, I'm so sorry this happened to you. Yeah. But at least you got arrested in style.
Oh,
wow. My dad said.
Sounds amazing. I was going to ask you about the family piece and what that was like for you. How it went down, because you were such a massive name, and then what that must have been like. But your dad sounds amazing.
He's cool. I mean, my mom, like, bless her heart, they're, our grandparents grew up in the Depression. So, and my parents grew up in the deep South of Tennessee. And so my mom was always like, please get a real job. Please don't go to school for acting. Just something good, just something solid. She didn't want to watch me suffer. And I understand. She was a good mom.
Yeah.
It's because of her I've embraced my emotions and sensitivity, because that same mom would also say, I'd come home crying. She's like, real men cry. It's cool. And my dad, at age 50, was able to finally deal with his demons, and he came out as gay, and he was able to embrace that side of himself. But he was a minister in the South, married to, it was a very white bread family, and it was not okay back then. And my dad got really bullied badly his whole life. But he always had friends who were African American growing up. He listened to Martin Luther King. He met him in Memphis, and he told me stories about meeting Elvis and my dad, just all of those things just made my dad really, really cool. And he encouraged me to check out synagogues when I was young, and put me in a school that worshipped all religions, that honored all religions and people.
Yeah.
In the South, it was like, what? And we were trying, I lived in England, and kids like had never left Tennessee around there.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be educated in places where people aren't. But I think that's what we need now more than ever, is like compassion and listening and understanding.
Yes.
So long story short, my family was not crazy about me becoming an actor. Like my grandparents sat me down, like, please don't do this. Please go to school. Please become a lawyer. And then of course, like once they see you on TV, they're like, oh my God, meet my grandson. He's a famous actor, So it got really cool after, but it definitely like made relationships weird. And everyone at college was like, screw you, man. Like you're working. And I'm like, well, I still want to study the craft. So I haven't you're not done learning just because you booked a commercial campaign, but it did help pay for school. So that was a family piece. We have a pretty dark, wild history as Southerners, but overall, like a pretty well-rounded, interesting family. But part of the divorce and my father coming out when I was a teenager was I was going through puberty, and I was trying to, ground in my sexuality. And my father was already really sensitive, even though he's very strict. And my mother was almost too lenient. And so like, I never had, my father internally was like energetically soul deeply confused, wrestling with himself and his sexuality. So I developed like attachment disorders and a lot of confusion around sexuality, because I was always attracted to to homosexual sensitive men.
Right. Okay.
Yet like didn't necessarily want to have sex with them.
Right.
Yet like straight men, like I couldn't handle, like I just didn't get it. I was bullied by them. That was my story. So it's a big reason, like eventually all this stuff that I dealt with, and September 11th and the breaking point of that, and losing my career for a while, really is kind of what started to call me into realizing that my sensitivity could be my superpower, and I could start using it to support and coach other men who may feel the same way I do. Yeah. But I didn't think about that till I lost everything,
Right. What kind of, how did that moment come to you where you realized that this is something that you wanted to do to help others with, that you have all this? Like, did it come in a big moment where you were like, I want to become a coach? Or was it,
if you haven't learned from my story, everything happened in an epic way to me. So like,
I love this. You have the most amazing story. I love your life.
So I did not learn anything the easy way. I was a tough nut to crack. I was very stubborn, and I came to it, first of all, like even after all of that, it took me more arrests, DUIs, it's a lot of darkness and drinking and drugging, until I was about for another 9 years, to where I had I was dating women. I'd experimented some with men, but I'd always dated women. They felt like that was natural for me. They understood me. I understood them when we were sexually attracted. It was cool. I just consider myself a human, sexually, I like people. Yeah. Mostly drawn to women. And, point being, most of them were either daughters of alcoholics or alcoholics themselves, or their parents were in recovery. And so I started getting a lot of messages like, you really need help. I think you're an alcoholic. You should get help. And I just wasn't ready until I was bartending, because I'd lost all my other jobs, and I was acting again, and I was playing music, and I was working the hottest music venue in New York City at the time called Le Poisson Rouge. It's still there. They have amazing artists from all over the world. And I got to perform there. It's the same stage as Leaky Lee and Kanye West and Talib Kweli and Medeski, Martin, and Wood, and all these huge names. It was so cool. But I started drinking more, and I got fired there because I blacked out. And that's when I realized I kind of needed help. And my friend who I smoked weed with, I remember she didn't drink though, and she was like, "I go to AA," which I didn't know was like you're not really supposed to do anything there. But I ended up going, and I got sober, and that group, that community really helped me. And actually, this Friday, so in 2 days from today, I will celebrate 8 years without alcohol in my life.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What an achievement. Can I just honor you for that?
Thank
It's
you.
one of yeah. I find even alcohol with myself. So I was a massive party girl. I had a very dark past myself, a huge turbulent divorce. And it's interesting because I feel like we're really mirroring this parts of your story. And even in our careers, actually, both being film and TV, acting, all of that is quite similar. But it's one of those things where I feel like I was also battling so much that was going on with me, and alcohol was a big one for me. I have always but I've never been able to completely sort of give it up. I don't drink as much anymore, and just socially. However, it's always been one of those things that I've struggled to just, completely teetotal. So for you to have done that and continue for 8 years, that's amazing. And I think as a coach too, it's great because you don't have that kind of cloud, that can happen. Like you're just crystal clear in your mind, and that's amazing.
Well, most of the time, at least without substances, yeah. I mean, I'm still human, but I did integrate. I tried to reintegrate marijuana into my life, and that didn't go so well at first, and now it's still a journey for me where I still like dabble a bit socially, but I never would have quit drinking if I didn't have to. It was like I did not. Actually, unlike most people who get sober, I did not want to quit drinking. I just wanted to like feel better and stop feeling like I was dying on the inside.
Yeah.
And luckily, I had lost that bartending job, and the only thing I could think of is I ended up becoming a dog walker in New York, which is cool because I love animals. I love dogs, and that really saved me. So I was walking like 6-8 hours a day, like 12 to 16 miles. I was on the phone every day. I was able to get to meetings. I was able to be of service. And then I started hearing messages about, and this all leads to your question, like, how do I become a coach, right? So I started trying to give you the abridged version. I started getting messages of being of service, right? And like, AAs and 12 steps are brilliant, but they didn't make it up themselves. Like these are concepts that have been around for hundreds, thousands of years, right? And I had a sponsor in the program who said, and you're supposed to be anonymous about it, but I'm not fully in the program now, but I'm just showing that it did work. And I refuse to be anonymous about it because I think it's important for people. Like if I knew more celebrities who were sober, I probably would have gotten sober sooner because I didn't know it was possible. So that's why I tell it. For those in the program, I'm sorry if you disagree. So that being said, my sponsor in that program had said, he was a brilliant actor, and he said, why don't you go into this audition like being of service? Like rather like let's take the ego out of it. Like what if you went in to be of service to this director, to the script?
Right.
And no matter how good I've gotten or how much experience or how many plays or hundreds or thousands of auditions, like I always get nervous in auditions. I never feel like I can just like be my cool self. Like I don't know why. I just
can relate to that.
I mean, it's just because it's not designed. It's like it's so like not natural, and it's like, okay, you have to do it right now, which on a set I can do. It's just I don't know. It's still weird. I'm getting better. But the second I thought of being service, it's like all that stuff went away, and I was like, oh my God, I'm here to help them, not to like show how great I am, and that turned everything around for me. And I think the fact that, and also I'd gone back, I was started coaching at Landmark, which is a worldwide organization.
I've done Landmark.
Okay, cool. So that's what I did in the World Trade Center, the forum right before. That's where the headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, that was the headquarters.
Yeah.
Oh
And they
my.
were like, "Oh, come back and do another program." And secretly, after their headquarters were destroyed, I was like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to go back and do that work anymore," because that was
Yeah.
really powerful.
Right.
But years later, I went back and I had friends in it, and I was coaching, and it's just all personal growth and development work. Like, just it's beautiful, like healing relationships, looking at integrity in every area of your life. I would pay millions of dollars for that stuff now. And there was an exercise about letting go of fear. And I had this
I remember
story.
that.
I was a victim, and I used to, in interviews, I would lead with, "I'm a victim of 9/11." That was like a badge of honor. But that badge of honor came with it like 10,000 pounds of weight. And in this exercise, something happened where I think I was just in the right place, the right time, and energetically, I was able to, like the coach just said, I'm going to it was like dropping a pen. It was something as simple as like, "Here's all your baggage and we're just going to let it go." Did you let it go? All right, let's try it again. And it was like the third time I imagined all that stuff I'd been through, and something about giving it to a physical object and watching it hit the ground, it disappeared. And I saw a space that I could live life not being a victim, and I could live life in service. And here I was in an organization built to be of service to the world. And I started coaching in it. And I saw the one thing where I was out of integrity is what I was putting in my body and how I was treating myself. So as I stopped putting, alcohol is awesome for lubricating and social, freeing yourself up and like being, letting loose. But like, that's all I depended on. And so once I stopped putting that in, I was confronted, but things got better. Right. And I couldn't play music free. Like, I was in bands. I was in like 4 bands. We were touring. We opened for Rufus Wainwright. Like, we were doing big stuff. And I was traveling as like a harmonica player, as a guitar player, and as a singer in 3 different bands. And it just stopped. Like, I just hit a wall artistically, and I thought I was dead because I only knew how to tap in artistically from the darkness, from the suffering. And so many of us humans, I mean, some people say to be human is to suffer. The artist suffering, it just, I no longer had the suffering to work with because I had released it, and I was like embracing light and being of service to people. And what came out of that is like realizing the one thing I'd always done well was like yoga. So like when I was hungover, I went to yoga. When I wasn't hungover, I went to yoga, or I ran. I was a soccer player growing up and an athlete, and I got really into my body. And I'd forgotten that I'd done like years of weight training, and I saw these teachers not taking care of people, and I saw myself getting injured. But through a physical theater program I did in Amsterdam, I got into more yoga. My body was like in the best shape of my life, and I realized I felt called to become a teacher, so I did that. And then about a month later, I was at a sober dance party in a church basement. I was like hanging out with my gay boys, like, because I always went clubbing with my gay boys. They were so much more fun. And like being a man who like really, I guess, identify more with the feminine and was very physically self-expressed and emotional. Like, I just felt so much freer with my gay friends. Like, and so I was just like feminine up, and I was like, dancing and voguing, and like this girl came up to me and she was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh my God, who are you?" And we just had this like fire. And I thought I was going to start dating men at this time. I told everyone I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
And then this woman came into my life, and she's now like 8 years later, my wife of 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really special. The universe brought us together. She had been through a tumultuous divorce. She had earned 6 figures and spent it all like me. And she had also gotten sober. She also wasn't sure if she was an alcoholic, but she saw her life was getting better. She knew how to have fun without substances, which was also wild to me.
Amazing.
And she was a personal trainer. So we actually formed our own company within 6 months of dating. Her last name is Fireman, and Cassie Fireman. And so we called it Fireman Fitness. And we were like, posting all over the neighborhood. And I was trying to move in with her, and she's like, "No, not yet." And I was like, "We have a business together."
We can
And then we
move
started getting like firemen calling us. We're like, okay, this has to all change. And we got really deep into spiritual work.
Yeah.
We went and did a intensive workshop in the jungle. Ended up being naked with Preston Smiles and Alexi Panos. Yeah, the super power couple. And we were like, oh my God, we're a couple. We do wellness. We could do this. And immediately, like, someone handed us a retreat to lead. And we turned it into a retreat for musicians to help them take care of their bodies and do yoga and surf and meditate and learn guitar. And it's with master instructors from Berklee School of Music, and it's called Balance Guitar. And we're now in our 7th year leading that retreat.
Beautiful.
And I was helping people, and people were coming to me, and I realized, like, I've coached before. I should ask people for money to coach. And my clients were all really skeptical. But it's second the pandemic hit, and I'd coached a few people and women and men. The second the pandemic hit, it just came to me. Like, I just felt called. I have to do this right now. And Preston's Facebook ads were like all in my face. I'm like, okay, universe. Yes, you do. It still is.
Yeah.
He's doing this coaching program, and I didn't even have the money, and yet, like, I was living an abundant life. I still, like, Cassie's also the lead singer of my band, and we've been touring for the last year and a half around the country. Released an amazing album called Holy Mama, like a full-length album that got a lot of awards. We got our first major festival, and all to say that, you know, it stopped during the pandemic. So we had a lot of like shows in the basement online and stuff, but just coaching hit. I was like, I have to do this. And I ended up in this Kaboom coaching program, which I can't recommend enough to anyone who wants to become a coach, or level up your coaching. And inside of that, I found you and just people. I just found my calling, and it was like someone finally gave me permission to really be myself and really just speak my emotions, what I'm going through, to the men and women of the world. And it just, you know, hit me like I can support sensitive, creative people who are ready to step into their light, because that is fucking, excuse my French, we can curse on here.
Absolutely.
That is bloody fucking terrifying.
It's so fucking scary. Yes, it is.
So uncomfortable. Doing well is so, like, everyone wants the money, but when you start succeeding and you grow, like, it is just constant ripping off layers and being more and more vulnerable. And like,
always work to do. Always. Right?
I mean, adulting already sucks. Let's be real about it. Anyone who's like over like 30 or 25, let's say now, even 20, you get it. Like, adulting sucks. And then like growing and holding your light constantly and letting go of your shit, which is the thing that serves all of us or has at some point, and then helping others is like, you know, but I just realized as I'm helping others, I'm liberating myself, and that's just how life works. And the more I liberate myself, the more I'm able to be of service to others. So that is my ultimate goal in life. I love, love, love coaching and speaking and this stuff. And, you know, I, like you, was like, how do I be an actor and a musician and a coach? Like, how do I brand that?
Exactly.
Well, then someone said, well, why don't you just be you? Like, you don't have to be one thing. You don't, and
why box yourself into something?
Yeah, consider that you're actually like living an extraordinary life, traveling the world, doing what you love, making money, and helping other people. And so when I heard you too ask that question, I'm like, there's got to be another actor who's a coach who's not given up acting to help, like, you know. And I even started sharing it with my agents. I was writing them. I'm like, listen, I'm a coach. Here's my video. If you have clients that need help, I'm your guy. And I want you to know that I'm not going away, and I'm continuing to work on myself. So I got my agents enrolled in it.
That is incredible, because it's such I think to be an actor, it's such a mindset. You've got to have that. You just got to keep going, and you're going to get so many no's and auditions after audition. Like, what's the average they say now? It's like over 80 auditions before you may get a yes. So you've got to be so strong.
And that's like on a good year, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I think I've probably had like 200, and it's. And now anyone can submit from anywhere at home.
Yeah.
Like, I've probably had at least 250 voiceover auditions in the last 4 months and didn't book any of them because like so is everyone else, you know, everyone has a mic at home. And Mia, you've just been on set for something pretty major, right?
Yeah, I have.
Can we talk about it?
We can't talk about this one just yet.
Okay. We're just gonna have to wait and come back and keep listening to find out her big news.
I know. So we've done so that's what I find as well, like juggling, being a makeup artist, and being so
you do have beautiful makeup, by the way.
Thank you so much. Today I wanted to have some fun, so and
I need to hire you. I have a good lighting, but you know, the makeup thing we're working on. I have someone else do that on set, right? You're a makeup artist and an
actress, and then trying to build this coaching world and coach as well. And I'm a mother as well, so there's like, you know, yes, I have a 5-year-old girl, so trying to like
I think you're amazing.
Thank you. I think you're amazing.
Women are amazing already because of all the shit they have to deal with on this planet. But if you're a mother and you're adulting, I was literally talking to my wife about this today. This morning, we went on a little hike together and she was telling me about her music career. She wants to develop solo. And I was like, how can I support you as a husband? Like, this is why I have to do coaching. I think because if I can get this going to the level that I want, then I can be a stay-at-home dad and you can go sing and we can take turns. But like, I was like, we need to find women who are doing this, who have children. And here you are. And like, even like we're having mama deer and fawns following us everywhere the last 3 days. So we're like, okay, universe, here we go.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's the thing, it is all possible. There is just so much limitless potential that we have as individuals and for what there is out there. And it's all about just, you know, finding the courage to do those things and to keep like energetically, you know, just leveling up as much as we can. And which brings me to you. How is it that you are managing all of this? Like, do you have fear coming up for you? And how do you manage the day-to-day? Like, what are your non-negotiables?
I love that question. Everyone needs to have some non-negotiables. And if you don't know what that is, that's like what you need to do to fucking survive, like, period.
Yeah.
Because we're adults and it really helps to have some tools in your tool belt. So my non-negotiables are cliche now, but like lemon water. Okay. They're probably going to find out that it's like really bad for you, but like everyone in the world's drinking lemon water first thing. So it alkalines your body. It helps balance it. It helps continue the cleansing after you've been sleeping and detoxing rather than immediately shoving food in your body to process. So like everyone in wellness, warm water, body temperature, so your body doesn't have to use extra energy. And it's a non-negotiable because I've had it long enough to where I crave it every morning. So if I don't have lemons, I'm like, oh my God, babe, we have to get lemons. So I have lemon water. I have to meditate.
Yes.
And then I have to eat fruit because I love it now. And that also helps digestion. And so I've just seen how much food really helps with my mood. And I mean, if I'm vibrating pretty high anxiety in the morning, which I still have often, like I don't wake up cured every day. I usually have to do quite a bit of work to get there. I mean, I baseline, like I went through, like PTSD doesn't disappear, but it gets better. So like I still wake up with mild anxiety. And I just heard a great quote today. Like, you don't have anxiety, you experience anxiety. Like you are not anxiety. Like there's anxiety can rise because of things. And it's because I've just leveled up. I'm doing like Preston's like graduate level program, the Leap, which is even more intensive. I just invested $12,000 in myself. And I'm getting more auditions than I ever have. And we're about to move into a new house and get a car. And my band is starting to rehearse every week. So like I wake up kind of like, you know, so I'm like,
so much stuff to do.
And like, I don't have a kid yet. So I don't know, like, you know, hail Mama Lena.
Yeah. I'm literally that, but with my daughter coming in every morning, just like, Mama, I need this. Mama, I need that. It's like, oh, okay, I need to meditate. That's the first thing I got to do.
You know, I really want to ask you about that too. I've been interviewing every young parent.
Oh yeah.
So, or with someone like under 5 or 3. I've taught kids a lot, so I know a little bit about it. But and then exercise of some kind, moving my body, is really, really, really important for me. It's a game changer. Like every time I don't want to, but every time I do, it's like the saying, you can't think your way into right action. You have to act your way into right thinking. And on the other side of taking 1 or 2 or 3 actions a day is like bliss. Like once I've gotten in my body,
yes,
I can work so much more diligently, productively. I can shine. Otherwise, I'm in my head all day, and it's not pretty up there when I'm not taking care of myself. And so it's literally a daily reprieve. So those are the non-negotiables. And then also connecting with my wife, like making sure if we're not able to connect in the morning or afternoon, like making sure we have some time in the evening to just connect, like so that there's grounding not only in myself, but in my relationship. And then that, I believe, feeds the energy that I'm giving out to the world.
Majorly, yes.
And then also a non-negotiable for me now too is posting some kind of content, so that even if I'm not speaking to someone, a client that day, or doing an interview, that at least there's one thing I'm putting out to the universe to say, hey, if you guys are struggling, like I got it too, and here's one thing that can help. So just a little, like, sprinkling some positive stuff for everyone. So those are my non-negotiables.
Yeah, I love that so much. And thank you for sharing that with us. It's funny that you mentioned the lemon water thing, because it's a big Indian thing that we do. So my mum has always told me to do that, like warm water in the mornings with lemon, maybe a dash of honey. But it's what like a lot of people talk about, and I've never really heard anyone say that before. So apart from my mum.
Oh, that's great. See, people have known this long before, white Westerners were like, this is what you should do now. It's like all the people, like indigenous or anyone in any other countries, like, we've been doing that for centuries. It's just cool now.
Yeah. But
white people.
Yeah. You reminded me to start doing it again. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. It's really nice. It feels really good. It's like a good flush.
It does.
I don't, water gets boring, and it's not always doesn't feel hydrating, with something about the lemon water and the vitamin C, and it's just good. Feels good. It tastes good. Yeah.
It does. It does. I want to ask you, you mentioned connecting with your wife. Are there any kind of exercises you guys do, or how is it that you find that? Do you go out for a walk? What things are you doing?
Well, the number one thing I've learned is to give her whatever space she needs. So I've tried to force connection. That does not work. I do not recommend it. So we just kind of check in. I check in by like asking her for a hug. I'm a huge hugger, and that really helps me in the morning, but she's not always available for it. So she'll let me know. So giving her the space she needs. And I find like a meal is a really great way to connect, because you're both nourishing each other and you kind of have to sit down and be mindful. A walk is a big thing that we love. I get pretty attached to you. She doesn't like to have to walk with me every day. But if I sort of bring it up, like, hey, would you want to walk with me later? Or you want to sit down later? Like, it's, I could give her the space, then she could choose to come in when she's ready. And like, you can already see like how our dynamics work. So those are the really beautiful things. If she's in a space, if we're in a space to be able to exercise together, like that is awesome. Because you're both in your bodies, and we're both like really physical people. Like, we're dancers too. We've had a little dance parties together during like COVID dance parties. That really helps us a lot.
Yeah.
Hiking. Like today we walked, and she likes to walk alone a lot. And, but she invited me on our walk today, which is really cool. And just being in nature, something that's bigger than us, really helps like bring us together. Because we can kind of work all our stuff out. We can talk or not talk, but we're both grounding together and moving together, like literally moving. So that helps us a lot. Now that we have a car, like car rides help us a lot. Just anything that has us sit in the same space kind of forcibly for more than like 20 minutes. It gives us enough time to like bicker if we need to, or not bicker, like work our stuff out, or, before we can come together. I mean, games, like any playfulness really helps, because if it gets serious,
Oh, I know what you mean.
clinginess.
Yeah, it's got to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'll tickle her, and if she gets mad, I just like do it even more, and like eventually she'll laugh, and one of us will break, and so that really helps too. Like just some little elements of play.
So needed. And I love that you mentioned that you're mindful of creating that and putting that in your schedule about the importance of connecting with your partner on a daily basis. But to I think it's so easy for us to be on autopilot and just keep going and not realizing the importance of having to do that and making the time for it, putting it in your day where you're like, no, let's make space for this and do that. It is absolutely integral to how we are feeling, like touching.
And check this out.
Tell me, what is that?
This is called Period Tracker.
Period
So
tracker.
I literally track my wife's menstrual cycles on here.
You are amazing.
Well, initially it's for my protection. No.
Yeah.
She has very, very I don't think she'd mind me saying she has PMDD, so it's a really intensive mood. It's almost like being bipolar. It's like really strong wave of feelings and energy, and then it can come down into deep depression, and neither of us were catching it, and it kept happening every month and always throwing us off guard. So she was tracking it. What's funny, she was like, you should get this so you can know like when I'm probably going to need a lot of space and I'm going to start to get really wild, because it always catches us off guard. I'm not saying anything's wrong. It's just our society is not built around cycles. Like women and men both have cycles, especially women and high performing women. There's no space for them to flow. It's like we have structure and regimen. So she was like, why don't you track that with me? And that was really helpful. And then she stopped tracking it herself, and she'd just be like, hey babe, when am I ovulating? I'm starting to feel a little like wild. And I was like, oh, actually that makes sense. It's tomorrow. So it kind of helps us, wherever you are, it helps us both tune in to the flow that is. And I actually can know if she's not understanding why she's feeling a certain way. Like I can check in and say, okay, maybe it's just literally your hormones. And then we take turns. Like I have my own, but I can't track it on an app,
It's so important though. And it's funny we're talking about this right now, because last night I was in such a funk. I don't know what it was. I was just usually a very positive, happy person. I was doing all the things. I'd meditated earlier and there's a lot going on, but I was like, what is going on with me? Like I just wanted to cry, couldn't cry. And it was almost like it was anger. Something was going on with me. And what I had to do was like so I was doing some things. I like primal screamed into a pillow because my girl was like sleeping and I didn't want to like wake up the neighbors because it was so late. So I was like screaming into his pillow, like just releasing all this energy. And in the morning I started my period. So I was like, that's what that fucking was. That's what it was. Just that I was just riding the wave, the emotions, but because I wasn't aware that I was about to start, it was like it just kind of came up. So it's so important to like, if I had the app, and I should probably be tracking and stuff as well.
It's really actually after a month or two, it's pretty damn accurate, like down to a day. And you can say like you can put like when you've been intimate with someone, like you can track a lot of different things on there. And so it's really helpful. It'll tell you if you're late or if you forgot to enter it. So sometimes we forget and we're like, oh my God, like we've got to go back and figure it out. Especially if you're planning for pregnancy or not. And also, I had a great talk with a man about this fellow coach, John Tran. We have a Monday thing called Divine Masculine Mondays, and he grew up around women. And he was like, yeah, well, every 4 weeks. I'm like, well, some women have it every 2 to 3 weeks. Some have it every 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah. And he was like, whoa, really? Like, we don't even have basic knowledge because some women don't have basic knowledge. Yeah. And there's still so much shame around it. Oh, yeah. So it's just, I just think it's so important, like, especially if you're like, what is wrong with me? And that comes up regularly. That's really great just to get some more information to empower you. Like, so knowing that like once in a while, I'm just going to have some really bad anxiety.
Yeah.
It like knowing why kind of helps ease that, and knowing like just tools, no matter what, Like if you had known like it was coming and you could have just taken a bath last night, or thank God you went and yelled in a pillow instead of at your child or or at yourself, right?
Exactly.
Like putting in some simple tools for like knowing that these things can come up, and like what do you have ready to go? And
tools do we have?
yeah. We also love to connect through like TV, like a good show. Like where she always has, like especially if I can find one with a great female lead, whether it's a comedy or something really important like that. Like the morning show, which deals with like sexual harassment against women.
I love
Like
that
Reese
show.
Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell's super creepy.
Incredible. The acting in that is like amazing. Great show.
We've been watching that because it's so important and dealing with women's rights and people's rights, and it takes place in New York. And so I'm a real big, if you haven't noticed, like champion for like men becoming more woke about women, because women, I think, are the most powerful creatures on this planet, and we do not give them enough credit. And we have like we men too have been like, men are the number one. We have the highest suicide rate, gender specific, because of the pressures that we learn we're supposed to carry through society. And if we could just be like not the center of attention all the time and be like, hey, maybe we should empower the women, it would take a lot of responsibility off our shoulders and give women the fucking opportunity they've been waiting for like 700 years,
Thank you.
That's true. And so I also help men in relationships, and women come to me like, please talk to my boyfriend or my husband. I'm like, well, he's got to be willing. But like, if he wants to learn and he really wants to support you, I would be happy to coach him through that, because I've been there.
Right.
I mean, I still deal with it. I'm not perfect. I still, I yell like an angry 2-year-old sometimes, my wife, we still argue, and but like, at least you're like equipped, that's all it is.
That's incredible. So did you mention that you do Monday?
It's called Divine Masculine Mondays. It's at 5 p.m. UK time. I do it on my Instagram and interview different men and women. So we've got to get you on there to just talk about healing the toxic masculine. It's not about male or female. It's just about balancing energy in today. Because I've actually met quite a few women who are way more masculine than me. And there's a brilliant coach named Shuli Johansson, who's it's Warrior's Heart is her Instagram, but she helps just sensitive men because she grew up in the military, physically abusive home. She was a boxer. She was a like American Gladiator. She was a motorcycle babe. Like she learned how to be tough, and like so through learning how to embrace her softer feminine side, she realized she was able to help sensitive men embrace their more powerful physical masculine side. And that's, I kind of do both. Like I help more masculine men find more center, and more feminine sensitive men find center, and then women too. Like it's not gender specific. It's just like, I try to help those that identify with me most. So usually men come to me. Yeah.
That's really interesting. And where would, how can people find you if they'd like to know more about your coaching?
Ben Curtis Official. So that's on Instagram and Facebook. /Ben Curtis Official. So if you send me a message on either of those, I check them daily, and I would be happy to talk with you. I don't work with just anyone, so I always make sure it's a right fit, and I never work with more than 5 people at a time, as I give my all to my clients. So I do keep limited space, but I always am willing to talk to someone to see if it's a good fit, and then I can decide like, hey, we can make it work now or in a couple months. But really, I want to support people as much as I can, and I'm even working on expanding so that I can create a container for a few more clients, because I just want to help as many men as possible. Let me rephrase that. I want to help as many people as possible. If they happen to be men, fine. If they happen to be women, if they happen to be cisgender or transgender or non-gender conforming, that's awesome too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And well, we're kind of hitting that 8 o'clock, like that hour mark. That went by so fast.
I want to interview you now. Like, I have so many questions for you.
so many questions for you. It's funny, if you could see my space right now, it's funny because my screen is a Dell. So now I think of you every time I see that. And then I have like all
from
the
the outside.
love it. And I have all these post-it notes with these questions, but you have another appointment right after this.
Yes, I do. You can, I could do like another 5 minutes. I also want to tell people, like, I would love for you to check out our music, Dirty May, dirtymay.com.
Yes.
I like how you say it. Will you say it?
Dirty May.
Dirty May. It's so much sexier. Dirty May.
Yeah.
So we're like New Orleans blues and soul, and my wife writes so much of the music. It's really heart centric, and it's funky and gritty and a little dirty, a little sassy.
Oh, that's amazing.
We call her Sassy Cassie, so you'll get a taste of her on there.
I like that. I heard your White Rabbit remake because I love White Rabbit.
Oh my God.
Was such a fucking amazing song. What you guys did with it. Oh my God. I was dying. It was so good.
Yeah, please check it out. Yeah. That's so cool. They're one of my, I've been listening to Jefferson Airplane since I was like 8 years old, and I love Grace Slick. And the second I met my wife, we started writing music when we met. So that was another thing. And she's like, I can't sing. And I was like, you just sent me like 5 songs. And she's worked and developed herself and her voice.
Yes.
Oh my God, she's become an incredible singer. And she sang this thing, and I was like, whoa, you just channeled Grace Slick. You have to sing this song. She didn't even know White Rabbit. I was like, you're going to learn this. We're going to do this. And we found a producer who really heard, and he made it extra trippy with us. Like, cause there's like, for the listeners, there's like tweaked, swirling banjo over the music. And it's just this like, takes you on this wild ride. Like if you get high, get as high as you can before you listen to this song. If you don't, then you'll have a great sober ride.
Yeah. I love it. And how can we find Cassie? Where are her details? Like,
she's Cassie Fireman with 2 N's on social media. If you go to Dirty May, we're both on there. Yeah, so she's on there too. She has a solo album coming that is going to be incredible. She's gone more pop rock, and but she's Dirty May. We'll always be doing stuff together, and we're going to bring all that music together in some way. And she's a healer and a coach, and and we'll be leading workshops together. We have something called the Love Workshop, where we help people and individuals and couples fall back in love with themselves and each other. That we're going to be leading around the world as soon as we're allowed to travel. So there's more to come.
So exciting. Now, let me fire one question while I still have you, just quickly before you go. And then I think we're going to have to bring Ben back, right, guys? Because this is brilliant. And
don't make me. Okay, I'll do it.
I've got one question.
Twist my arm. I love talking to you. I mean, you're so easy to talk to. I've just been like la, 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 the whole time because I'm having so much fun.
Brilliant. So, okay, now to pick. What do I pick? All right. How about your kind of, if you could leave one nugget right now to everyone who's watching, anyone who has a dream or wants to pursue the creative arts or do something more like, and is facing some fear, do you have any advice for them?
Yes. Fuck the fear and do it. Just do it. Here's the truth. You could die tomorrow. If you get hit by a car, another terrorist attack, COVID, anything. You could die in your sleep. Some of the healthiest people do. It's not crazy. And you have one life. And if you put things off to tomorrow, they may never happen. And you only have right now. Especially in a pandemic. If you can't leave your home, fucking brilliant. What a great time to recreate yourself. What a great time if you lost your job to go after the job of your dreams. And all those people you're trying to send love out to in the universe, please just give some to yourself and know that wherever you are is perfect. You don't have to grow or level up, but just give yourself some love and listen to your heart. And if you're waking up with anxiety, it's trying to tell you something. If you're waking up with depression, it's trying to tell you something. You do not have to live a life that you do not love.
Exactly.
And if you want to live one that you do, just fucking do it. And he needs support.
Just fucking do it.
There are people like Lena and I are here for you to hold you accountable to shine your light. We would love to do that. So just reach out to us.
Exactly.
No, you shouldn't do it alone. You should not. We all have coaches and mentors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Don't do it alone.
Don't do it alone. We've got you. Thank you so much, Ben. Oh, this has been brilliant. And thank you everyone who's been watching. We've got Annie, Atif, Stephanie, Sanita, Dilip, Ali, everyone. Thank you, Ivy. Thank you so much for watching.
I want to say one other thing.
Yes.
If you felt a call during this, like an energetic call, pick up the phone. Like if this resonates, tell us what landed. If you think this can help someone, share it, because holding these secrets doesn't help anyone. Like share it, share.
There, please.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ben. It's been amazing. Great. Thank you for watching, everyone. And I'll post this over to socials and send you some links over, Ben. It's been great doing this. And till next time, we'll have you back again.
I can't wait.
Okay. Thank you, Ben. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Bye.